Hi, Tim Unkert here, and this is part of my raw website design series that I'm doing on YouTube. And today I'm going to start to build a website for Math for Everybody, which is a website for my students. And I'm going to go through how to do it. I'm going to build it with HTML, CSS, and PHP. And to do that, I'm going to use a couple programs. One program that I'm using right here is called XAMPP. Um, and this allows me to build the website offline and have a server on my own computer so I can have PHP and MySQL and have a database that I can hook into if I so desire. Um, I probably won't be using a ton of MySQL right yet for the website design, but this is going to be a multiple part series. And basically, I'm going to run it until I get tired and I decide to stop, and that'll be part one. Now, I'm also building this website locally because last year when I built it for my students, I built it in WordPress and customized the WordPress website with some CSS and whatnot to meet my needs and used a plugin for various quizzes and whatnot. My idea this year is to write some PHP code so that I can have do nows and that stuff show up on the website only at certain times during the period of the class and things like that. And I may build a WordPress plugin in the future that does that, and maybe migrate it to WordPress at that point. So I'm building this locally just to see what I can do. Again, with the raw website design series, there's going to be mistakes along the way, and you get to see that. And if you're a website designer, what people don't know is that you're not just coding away like in Swordfish, where John Travolta's forcing you to find a worm within a minute. There are a lot of times where you make mistakes and a lot of frustration. You'll see that in the video. I'll edit some of that out, of course, but um, don't be afraid to get into website design. It's really not as hard as you think. Now, the other thing I'll be using to build this up is a text editor called Atom, which I just brought up. This is free and available from GitHub, so atom.io, if you want to go to that website, is a good website to get a free text editor. Another one I like is brackets.io, which is also a GitHub text editor. You can also use stuff like Notepad++ or even Notepad, but I would recommend Atom or Brackets, which are both free, and do some text highlighting, and you'll see that in a moment. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to right click or use two fingers with the desktop mouse and go down here and create a new file. Okay, and I'm going to call that index.php. So when I go to the Math for Everybody, I should bring this up. Okay, now this is a PHP. Now with Atom, I can just type in HTML, hit enter, and it gives me this skeleton here with a basic HTML skeleton. Gives me the meta charset UTF-8, which is nice. I may also do, let's see, so do a meta name equals viewport, and then content equals width equals device width, and then a comma, and initial scale equals 1.0. Okay, I'll do that, and that helps with making your website mobile friendly to put in this here meta tag. Okay, title is going to be this is the home page for Math for Everybody. And then you also may want to put a description in. So let's see. And there's a lot of things I'll put in for SEO, search engine optimization. I'll do that at a later point. There's a lot of tags you want to put in for that so that if people want to share the math stuff on Twitter, they can get the picture looking good and all that kind of stuff, and Facebook and all that and so forth. So this is a great math website helping kids everywhere. And might put in a little bit longer description. Google does tend to like a little bit longer now, so it's maybe 160 characters or so. So I may add like another sentence at a different point, but it's really not that important just yet. Okay, so let's see, what else do we need to do? Well, right now we don't have anything up there. So there's nothing in the body. So actually, if I save this, so I hit save, Control S, I go up to here into my browser, and I'm going to type local host backslash, let's see, what was this in? Maybe just math for everybody. And then backslash index.php, and we get the title. And it shouldn't really be showing up there, but it is. Okay. Anyways, so, and why is it doing that? Okay. So error right off the bat. So I got to put basically a greater than sign there. Close it. And you notice when I didn't have that, now see it's red now? When I didn't have that, it was orange. So it was actually showing up on the website. Okay, so hit Control S again. Let's refresh. Okay, and that goes away. But you see this home math for everybody up here. So the title will appear here in the tab, but not here. There's nothing here yet. So one simple thing we can do with WordPress, or not WordPress, with just HTML is do maybe a paragraph tag and just say, hello world. That's something a lot of people like to do. We're going to make this a lot better, but just to show you, okay, so now I hit refresh and bam, it says hello world, but it's not styled. It looks like a website from 1990. So one thing that we need to do is we need to bring in a style sheet. Okay, so, and I'm going to do a comment. So this is going to comment. Notice how everything turns gray here. That means I opened up a comment. I have to close the comment also. I'm going to say style sheet. Style sheets, because I'll probably put more than one. Okay, and then I'm going to close the comment like that with the two dashes and the arrow. So to start a comment, it's a less than, then your exclamation point, then two dashes. That starts a comment, then ends the comment, two dashes, and a greater than sign. So style sheets. So let's do link relation equals style sheet. And then we can do something like the type equals text / CSS, and then the path, we can do style.css. Now, I'm not using style sheet from online, which I will be doing soon, but this is going to give me a link to a regular style sheet. Now, if I hit save and I go here, nothing is going to happen because we haven't created a style sheet yet. So I'm going to go up here, right click, new file, and type style.css. Okay, so now I can start to type my CSS. So let's say my body, I'm going to do open and close curly bracket, and then I put my CSS here for the body. So let's say I want my max width, and let's do that in pixels. So let's do 1100 pixels. We're not going to have any float right or left, and the margin is going to be auto. Okay, I save that. Let's see if it pulls it in. See, it pulls it in. So it's okay. So now we've got this automatic margin here, and it would be here on the other side. You won't be able to see it, but so that's pulling in the CSS. Now, let's say we could do a border, and border is going to be three things. So you do 2 pixels, do a solid border, and then the color, that's going to be black. Okay, so let's see. How does this look? Okay, so it wraps it around. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of style in there. Now, you can type up the style and do all kinds of things. Let's do a paragraph. Let's do the paragraph style. Let's do the font family. Do like Baskerville, Ceda, and then probably the only one that's going to pick up is sans serif. Okay, we'll do that. And then the font size, let's do 20 pixels. Going to make the font larger. Line height. Do this, something like that. Okay, so now, okay, so it gets a little bit bigger, and maybe we want some padding in that paragraph. So let's do 20 pixels padding. Okay, let's refresh. And okay, so now we're starting to get some CSS in there. That's great and all that, but do I want to do CSS for the entire site? I probably actually do. but there are other frameworks that you can use. So let's take a look at a few. So one is Bootstrap 4. So look that up. This is a CSS framework, so a style sheet framework, so something that you can use. You can put this link in and these links in, and it will give you the code. Another one, and this is one I haven't tried. This is why it's raw website design. So foundation, and the internet's a little slow, but we're looking for foundation CSS. I'll pause this just for a minute so we get up to that. Okay, so I brought up foundation CSS. Okay, so one thing I might want to search for is free CSS frameworks. Okay, so my internet is really slow, so the free CSS frameworks weren't coming up. And this is the part of raw web design, and it features my randomness. What I want to do here is I was thinking about using Foundation, I was thinking about using Bootstrap, but then I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll just make the CSS all myself. That way the website really becomes a part of my creation, even if it looks far worse than the stuff you could come up with Bootstrap or Foundation. And maybe I'll incorporate that at a later point. You know, and I talk about in WordPress, when you're changing themes, you're basically changing the CSS styles. So you can do that in your own HTML, CSS, PHP website with just a different style sheet. I mean, it might take a little bit longer, but you can switch it. It's not like you're set in stone with a certain CSS style. You can definitely change it. You just have to look at the classes that you line out and go from there. Okay, so I'm going to bring Adam back up. So we have our style sheet that we started, okay? And then we have our body. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to do here. So I want to create a couple files. So I'm going to create a header file. I'm going to call that header.html. Okay, and I'm also going to create another file, and I'm going to call that one footer.html. Okay, and maybe in the header, just for demonstration, I'll do a header 1 saying welcome to mathforeverybody.com. Okay, and save that. That's a very simple header. It doesn't have any navigation or anything like that. Actually, what I'll do to separate this is just do that tag. The HR tag actually just makes a horizontal line. Okay, and then the footer, I'll do a horizontal line like this, and then maybe I'll do a paragraph where I line it in the center, and I'll say copyright. Copy. I bought this domain in this right here gives me the copyright symbol. I bought this domain in 2016. We'll say math for everybody, everybody.com. Okay, and then I'll close out the paragraph tag and save that. Okay, so we go back here. I refresh, and nothing happens. Okay, because I'm not pulling in the header or the footer. And the great thing about PHP is you can easily pull it in. So I'm going to create a PHP tag, which is the less than sign, question mark, PHP. And then I'm going to just type include, and then parentheses, header, in double quotations, header.html. And then I will close that PHP tag. And then I'll go below here, and I'm going to do the same thing for my footer. And you notice the cool thing about Atom is it puts it in nice colors for you so that you can kind of see the code. All right, so let's, so look at that. Now we have the header here. We have the footer. They get pulled in. And this is the great thing about knowing how to use PHP. You can do this in JavaScript as well. It's a little bit easier in PHP though. Is I can basically include this on my pages, this code, the PHP include header, PHP include footer, And the great thing is, if I want to switch the header, let's say I have a menu up in the header, which I could build, or something about the copyright or whatever is in the footer, I can switch it in one file and it will switch throughout my entire website. So in a way, you're kind of building your own content management system. Not exactly, but sort of. You're making it a lot easier to switch throughout the entire website. Now you may be saying, well, why not just use WordPress? Well, okay, so let's go into some of the reasons why it might be more advantageous to code. So if you are good at coding, one, your security is going to be better than WordPress. There are programs called bots that will just search out a WordPress website, look for vulnerabilities, and look to hack your site, and then ship you off to somewhere else, or use your server for spam. So you don't want that. The other thing that I like about it is WordPress websites are great. I love using WordPress. It's a great content management system, but a lot of the sites, they kind of all look like these fancy blah blah blah. That's kind of like, okay, well, um, at a certain point, it gets to be a little bit them looking all the same. When you're coding on your own, you can make your own things. You don't have to search for plugins to kind of do what you want. You can code it exactly to do what you want. So I would say coding does have an advantage in certain ways. I think in terms of SEO, there's a lot of great built-in SEO plugins for WordPress, like Yoast or All-in-One SEO, that can help you do SEO a lot easier. So from an SEO standpoint, the coding, it's more difficult, not impossible. Anyways, so let's keep going. I'm rambling away here on this video, and we are 17 minutes in, so we probably want to stop part one pretty soon. Okay, so I've just started. I've included basically a header and a footer, and maybe I want to center the header. Let's just say align center. Okay. And okay, look at that. Look at that. So we're getting a website. It kind of looks like a website. This is, of course, not online. This is on my local machine, so you can't go to this website Math for Everybody and see this. Right now it just says under construction. But okay, so now I'm going to pause the video for a minute. I'm going to type in some stuff like welcoming my students. Okay, so I went into my text editor and I typed some stuff. Hit Control Save, so let's see how it came out. I'll refresh. Okay, so we've got a lot of padding here, maybe too much. That's one thing. All right, so let's cut that down. All right, go back to the style sheet, and I'm gonna make my padding 7 pixels, because 7 is a great number. All right, and we're refreshing, and did I not save my style sheet? I did. Okay, so sometimes this happens. I'm gonna go to history, and clear the browsing data. So that's going to clear my cache, and then hopefully the CSS will show up because the padding is a little much. And this is one thing that annoys me a little bit with the Chrome browser. So I find myself having to do this quite a bit. Okay, so now, so I've cleared the cache. Okay, so now the CSS comes in a little bit better. That looks like, decent spacing. So it says, hello students, welcome to mathforeverybody.com. This website will help you throughout the year with useful blogs, do-nows, and practice quizzes to help you enhance your classroom learning experience. You will be required to visit this website to complete certain do-nows that will only show up at certain points during the class. So that is a PHP thing where you can actually set a time variable and actually only what they call echo in PHP certain content at certain time. So I'm going to say hint, the first 5 minutes. So why do I do this? Because it sets the tone for the class and starts the learning process from the moment you enter the classroom, maximizing your mathematical exposure. Whether you're an Algebra 2, college prep, honors, pre-calc, or a calculus student, this website will enhance your learning. In addition to fun stuff like math blogs, practice quizzes, and do-nows, there will be other practical material like most recent projects and assignments. I also add areas where you can submit questions and maybe even a forum. Whoa! Again, thanks for visiting and get ready for a great year. Okay, so Other thing I might want to add is maybe a picture of myself. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute and find a picture of myself, and then we'll add that. Okay, so I'm back. I found a photo. I'm calling it Tim-Rado because it was when I was in Colorado. Okay, so I have to look here as I have my files. I probably want to create image folder. So create a new folder. I'll call it IMG. Okay. And then I want to drag this file in there. So hold on a sec. Let me pause it, and I will drag that Tim-Rado picture in there. So hold on one sec. Okay, so I went and I found the folder, and I've got this IMG folder, and I'm gonna take that and boom, slap that in there. And now I'll bring back Adam, and now when I go down, I see I have that file that's in there. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to include the picture. So say my name is Tim Hooker, and I am your math teacher for this year. Okay, and then I want to bring in the image, so I'm going to say image source equals \img tim-rado.jpg, and then for SEO you want to do the alt tag. So I'll just do Tim Hooker in Colorado. Now, if I was trying for a keyword or something like this, I would think of something a lot better to put in the alt tag, but I really don't care. This is just for my students. I'm going to give them the address. They're going to go to the site, and they'll have quizzes and whatnot on it. So I hit Control Save. Okay, let's bring up my browser and refresh and see if it pulls it in. So it's not pulling it in just yet. So it may have trouble going and pulling that in. But if I were to upload this, the photo would come out. Okay, so it's not doing it. Okay, so I just paused it for a minute. I got to do it. I took off the backslash here, and that seemed to have helped it. Okay, so yeah, didn't like the path before, so I just took that off. It's math4everybody.com, really /img/tim-rado.jpg. Anyways, so that sometimes happens. A lot of times it will work with the slash, but it wasn't this time. So it's got the photo here. Again, with the style sheet, I would want to do something here, create a section here where I have, say, the photo on the left, and then maybe some words that wrap around it. So let's see if I can do that. I want to make this look a little bit better. So I'm going to create a div and call this left image. Just describe it, the class. And then I'm going to space this in here. And then close out that div. And then I'm going to create another div class, and we'll call that write text. Sounds pretty good. Tab this in, go to the end of this line, and close out that div. Okay, so we'll close it out, and I'm going to Adam does some nice indenting for me. Now, is any of this indenting necessary? The answer is no. You don't have to indent at all. You could indent like crazy. Doesn't really care in terms of the HTML. It only really counts one space. But it's a nice way to organize your code, to have it indented and whatnot, and you can kind of see it easier, especially when you're coding. Okay, so I hit Control Save, go back, let's take a look. Nothing happens. So why is that? Well, we need to go into the style sheet. Okay, so all right. So one way you specify a class in a style sheet, we have left image, I believe is a class, and I'm going to say that the width of the left image, let's say that's 25%, float will be left. Okay, and we'll hit Control Save, and then right. Yeah, we probably want to do display will be an inline block. Let's do that, and then we have right text, and we're going to do a width of, let's say, 70%. Float is going to be right, and the display will be inline block. Okay. All right, well, look at that. Okay, so it looks like a mess, and it is. But um, we're on our way. So let's see, where is this? Something's getting wrapped in there weird. Oh yeah, okay. So the stuff after this is getting wrapped a little bit weird. So let's highlight this. I'm using this finger mouse, so it's a real pain. Let's see if I can get this. This is when you want to be doing the regular mouse. So we're gonna hit Control X here, and let's go to the end of here. Okay. All right. Let's refresh. Okay. So now this is looking a lot better. It's not great. I mean, it still looks kind of horrible, but it is getting somewhat better. So let's bring this down. Okay, so one thing that's kind of cool about this. All right, so I've got my footer, got my header. I've got this wrapping a little bit better, but now if I bring this down, oh, that looks horrible. All right, so that's what you're going to see on your cell phone right now if I were to do this. And what we're going to need to do in Atom is in the style sheet, we're going to need to create some mobile CSS. Probably won't do that for this initial video as we're at about a half an hour, but we're well on our way to getting this to look pretty nice. Let's see when it starts to look bad. Okay, so we're bringing it down. So getting around here, we're going to have to change it. We're going to have to do some media queries, okay? And we can do that within the CSS and change it for different screen widths, and we'll do that with the style sheet, okay? But this basically is concluding how you'd build maybe a start page. We don't have a menu here yet. Maybe we put one in. Maybe let's just do that now because we have a little bit of extra time. And this is, okay, so after this horizontal line, let's do menu, and we'll do that nav tag, and we'll say index.php. Okay, that's going to be our home page. And then let's have an about page. Okay. All right. And then maybe we have a blog page. Okay. And we do that. And then maybe we have also latest assignments page. So we'll just call that latest.php. And here are all the assignments. Okay, and you can have whatever. And then we'll close out the menu, okay, and then we'll hit refresh, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we have this horrible looking menu here. All right. So again, we need to style that with CSS. So let's come here and go to the style sheet, and we're going to say maybe the nav menu. Let's do a max width of 300 pixels. Float will be none, and the margin will be auto. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh, and bam, it moves it right to the center. Okay, and then we could also do like a display flex. But all right, so the links, we want the text decoration, maybe do none. Font size, make it 22 pixels, and padding, maybe make it 5 pixels. Okay. See what that looks like. All right, and see that now spaces out a little bit. Okay, so come back up here. Maybe I do a little bit wider. See how that looks. Nope, not yet. Let's do 450 pixels. Okay, go back up. Okay, that's good. Bring it down a little bit. And it's just fast and easy. Okay, bring it down a little bit more. Or 10. Okay, you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of playing with this. Okay, and I'm lining it up in the center. Okay, so we've got all these links. None of these links will work because we haven't built the page for them. And then maybe in the header below that, we also include a horizontal line. Okay, so look at that. That's looking pretty good. And let me go back to the style sheet here and just I think 400 pixels will work. Let's see. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, so we got that. The spacing. All right, other thing, this image spacing. Don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to say dot. I'm going to do a class left image, and then in that class we have the actual image padding. There's 10 pics, and let's see how that turns out. Okay, that's looking a lot better. It gives me some padding around my photo. Okay, but hey, we're off to a decent start. It doesn't look like something you could do with Bootstrap or Foundation CSS. It's not mobile optimized yet, but we can save this, and we've got some good files to start with, or a good entry file to start with when we're creating our website. Okay? Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for part 2 when we really start to go and build into this website and make it look a lot better. We're going to style it up and make it look really good. Okay? All right. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.